بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين جل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of moral philosophy. And as you remember, we said there are three major views about normative ethics. There is teleological view, there is deontological view, and virtue ethics. We said those who believe in teleological view, they believe that it is because of good outcomes, good consequences, that an action becomes good. So a good action leads to good outcomes, good results. But we said that the first good is morally good, the second is to be defined outside the realm of morality. So it's not circular. A good action means a morally good action leads to good results, but the second good is something which is not moral, in the sense that it is not defined inside morality. It's about your ideals that you should study prior to moral philosophy. For example, we said some people say welfare, some people may say self-realization, some people may say nearness to God, some may say perfection, some may say internal happiness and joy, some may say pleasure. So there are different opinions here. So teleologists themselves can be divided according to what are good ends or what is good end. It can be one thing, it can be more than one. We also said that teleologists can be divided according to the beneficiary. Who is the beneficiary? Who is the one who is going to benefit from? No matter what you define the good end, you have to also decide who is going to be the one who benefits. For example, if you say the good result is welfare, the good result is pleasure. Okay, pleasure of whom? Welfare of whom? So we said here they are divided into three groups: egoists, altruists, universalists. Egoists believe in egoism, which means the agent or the agents must benefit from the action. Of course, it can be one person, it can be few people, it can be a group, it can be a party, it can be a country. For example, if you are a politician and you are egoist, you may say members of our party should benefit from our policies. Or if you are a politician who is a statesman, say member of our country should benefit. You may not have concern for other countries, other nations. I'm not saying definitely, because inshallah when we explain our understanding of egoism, the situation may change. But to benefit means there must be a beneficiary. Who is the beneficiary? Who is going to benefit from this? Egoists say the agent or the people who are together forming the agent or are concerns of the agent. Here, there is something that in some books discussed, for example, in Encyclopedia of Ethics, that you might find it useful for your study of moral philosophy. There's Encyclopedia of Ethics, edited by Becker. In the entry about egoism, you find something about what they call psychological egoism. Psychological egoism is different from egoism that we were talking, although they are related. We were talking about ethical egoism. So, psychological egoism is the idea that human beings are made in the way that they only have concern for their own interests. This is the way they are built, they are made. This is part of our fabric, part of our nature, that we only care about ourselves. Some people have tried to say the reason we should accept ethical egoism is psychological egoism. Because we are created in this way, so no other opinion, no other ethical view can be accepted and can be useful. If we are really made in the way that we have only concern for ourselves, and you are an altruist, you say no, you should have concern for other people only. You are contradicting human nature, and you will get nowhere. You can never be successful. You can create tension inside people. Or if you are universalist, you cannot get anywhere if we believe in psychological egoism. Of course, you have to know, and it is there in the Encyclopedia of Ethics by Becker, edited by Becker, that even those who believe in psychological egoism, they accept that human beings sometimes help others, sometimes devote their time, their money, maybe even their life for others. But they say still they are egoists. According to them, even when we help others, we are not heedless or negligent about our own interests. We have sometimes some sacrifice, but because we know this sacrifice is better for ourselves. For example, someone gives his money to poor people in order to get a reward from God, or in order to have pleasure inside, to feel good. So they don't deny that you can have altruist acts, charitable acts, sacrifice. But they say the main motive for these actions is your concern for yourself. You want to serve and benefit your own interests or yourself in general. Okay, this psychological egoism is very similar to what Muslim philosophers and thinkers have mentioned about hubbuz zat, the idea of hubbuz zat, self-love. And inshallah, we will talk about it later. And inshallah, I will share with you my own personal opinion about Hubb Zat. So please wait for that time. But what is important just now is that if psychological egoism is true, if we accept it, can it be used as a support for ethical egoism? Can we say because we are created in this way, so also morally we should do something that only benefits us? Some people have said yes. What can be better than having an ethical theory which is based on human nature? But some people have said no, actually, if you are made like that, then there is no need for ethics and ethical theories at all. If every person by default and nature can only think about his own interests, then why we need to tell people that egoism is the right theory and you should think about yourself? They automatically do it. And if someone says something other than egoism, would be defeated sooner or later because they are talking against human nature. So this is something that some people can say. But on the other hand, there are people who say no. Actually, if you believe in psychological egoism, you don't need anything except just maybe a reminder. So, if I want to summarize, some people support ethical egoism with psychological egoism. Some people say ethical egoism can only be useful to discuss if we don't believe in psychological egoism. If we believe in psychological egoism, we don't need any theory because automatically we are going to be self-interested. There is a third view, which is what I have suggested, is that on behalf of those who are interested in psychological egoism and try to bring it to ethics, we can say it's like a reminder. It can make people who are already by nature interested in their own benefit, it can be a reminder for them that you should always concern your interest and just try to consider your long-term interest, for example, your real interest. Okay, you want to serve yourself and serve your interests. Okay, help people, for example, because that is also good for you. Or think about long-term. Don't cheat. If you are a shopkeeper who is interested in his own interests, his own benefits, okay, don't think that I should cheat. A customer comes and you sell, for example, your good more expensive, or you do something wrong to deceive that person. And you say, I am egoist, and we are all egoists. You say, no, you can be egoist, but think about long-term interests. For example, in dunya or in akhirah. And say, if I am good with my customers, it will be useful for me in the long term. More people would come. Maybe I make less money from this person, but I make more money when more people come to my shop. Or if you are a person who is interested in hereafter, you say, okay, maybe I didn't make lots of money from this person, but I'm going to be rewarded by God. I'm going to be nearer to God. So I have said that perhaps then we can say ethical egoism can be compatible with psychological egoism, and still it makes sense to talk about psychological egoism and have at the same time our ethical theory. Whether we believe in psychological egoism or not is what inshallah we discuss later about hubbul dhat, self-love. Here also it is interesting to note, and I have referred here in my notes to Ayatollah Mutahhari's view about every person having two types of self. He is one of the people who has discussed this issue a lot in his works, in his books. According to him, every person has two self. I have, for example, here a quotation from his book Naqdi bar Marxism, a critic of Marxism. In the Farsi version, a critic of Marxism, pages 207 and 208. He talks about these two types of self. He says, انسان دارای دو من است، من سفلی و من علوی. We have a lower self and a higher self. بدین معنا که هر فرد یک موجود دو درجه است. Every person is a being which has two levels, two ranks, two stages. در یک درجه حیوان است، مانند همه حیوانهای دیگر، و در یک درجه دیگر دارای یک واقعیت علوی است. At one level, human beings are like animals, other animals. But in another level, they have a higher reality. And when we say tabi'at insan, nature of human being, we mean reality of human being and not just the material and physical nature. And then he says, روی این نظر راستی، درستی، احسان، رحمت، خیر رساندن و امثال این گونه یک سلسله معانی مسانخ و مناسب با من علوی انسان است. So all the moral virtues like truthfulness, righteousness, benevolence, mercy, this type of thing are meanings which suit higher self, not lower self, which is animal self. So, according to this view, we can say in ethics, we should try to aim at interests of upper self or higher self, man ilvi. That is ethics, not just lower self. So even if you believe in psychological egoism, you can still learn how to benefit your higher self and not just lower self. If you benefit your lower self, you may end up with deceiving and cheating and so on and so forth. But if you aim at higher self, you will be acting according to moral standards. Inshallah, we continue this discussion when we talk about hubbul dhat. The second view, as you remember, was altruism. And that is to be concerned about the good, the benefit of others. You yourself should not be taken into account. Because akhlaq, according to them, starts when you forget yourself and want to help other people. If you want to help yourself, then this is not akhlaq. So, we have to be thinking about others. Others can be other human beings, or it can be others including animals as well. So it means human beings and animals, or human beings, animals and plants. Or maybe someone says human beings, animals, plants and non-living beings. So we should be concerned about them depending on what is your theory. For example, nowadays environment needs lots of attention, lots of work. And altruists can say an action is good if it is good for other people or for the environment. Still, it is altruist because you are not concerned only about yourself. A question arises here. How much I should be concerned about the benefits of other people? Can I lose my health, my money, my life here because I want to benefit others? If I totally get all my energy and give it to others, it is good or not? We can say if you are a full-fledged altruist, someone who has worked out all the implications of altruism, you should give from yourself whatever you can, but there is one condition. You must not destroy yourself. Even if you are altruist, they may say you must save yourself. Do you know why? Why an altruist should help others but at the same time save himself? Exactly. Because if you don't save yourself, you cannot help them. So, you are an asset for others. So this is the only way that I think they can argue for need for self-care and self-protection. You can be altruist, but for the sake of others, you should look after yourself, your health, your functioning, etc. Then we said there is universalist, which believes in universalism, and universalists are those who say that neither the agent himself nor others only. You should try to consider everyone's interests. If it's not possible to help everyone, you should help the majority, as many as possible. Either benefit as many as possible or reduce the harm for as many as possible. These are universalists. And then we said we have deontologists who are concerned about the reason you do certain things. According to them, it must not be based on calculation of results. People like Kant believe that we have decisive moral commands and we have to observe them. Whether they are benefiting us right now or not, it's not important. For them, intention becomes very important. Because you must do it only out of moral sense of responsibility, not for any benefit, any gain. Question, I have a question for you. Can intention be important for teleologists? For deontologists, yes, definitely. But what about teleologists? For example, you say pleasure. Whatever brings pleasure is good. Is intention important or not? The answer is, according to teleology or teleological view, results are the main factor. Then you have to go one step further and see, based on the result that you have chosen, do you need certain type of intention or not? It's a very important question. If it is just pleasure, lazza, niyya is not important. If it is for welfare, niyya is not important. But if it is, for example, nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, al-qurba, al-taqarrubu min Allah, here we can say intention becomes important. Because if we do something without attention and intention, it's not going to help us in our journey towards God. So, according to teleological view, intention can sometimes still be a very important factor, because you may have chosen ends, ideals that need certain type of intention. What about virtue ethics? Do you think in virtue ethics intention is important or not? When we give priority to human virtues, where does intention stand with respect to virtues? For example, if someone has the virtue of generosity, is intention important or not? It seems to me that intention is more for actions and not qualities of the soul. For virtues or for malakat of nafs, it seems that intention is not that much important. If you are generous, you are generous. Yes. When it comes to your actions, intention becomes very important. You have to be giving money to other people with good intention. But maybe with respect to virtues, it doesn't make sense to talk about intention. Why are you generous? If you are not generous for good reason, generosity is not good. Maybe it doesn't that much matter. If someone is generous, is generous. Virtues by themselves don't admit distinction between good intention or bad intention. Yes, actions that lead to virtues. For example, you give money to people sincerely, or you give money to people so that they can praise you. These actions can be moral or not moral. But virtues themselves, no. So this is the virtue ethics. Now, I want to make some points. And inshallah, these points help us to understand Islamic theory of ethics. One point is that in our ethical theory, we must pay attention to both voluntary actions and acquired qualities. Both of them are needed. Voluntary actions and acquired qualities. If we are not careful about actions, or if we are not careful about qualities, we have problem. A human being who is moral is the one who has concern for qualities and tries to have good qualities and not bad qualities, as well as actions, tries to have good actions, not bad actions. Both of them are important. Point 2. We said that for qualities, we have different ways to identify which qualities are good. Sometimes you can say these qualities are good because they lead to good actions. And then you say, why those actions are good? We say because those actions lead to good consequences. For example, generosity leads to giving food to people who have no food, giving medicine to the people who have no medicine. So that quality leads to these actions, and these actions are good because they lead to eradication of poverty in the society. So sometimes you explain and identify virtues and vices according to the actions. But it seems that we can do it also without reference to actions. If we consider, for example, according to Ayatollah Mutahari, Mana ilvi, higher self, then you can see which qualities are positive for that Mana ilvi and which are not. Those who are positive, they are virtues. Or you can say which qualities are human, and then they are to be encouraged, they are to be promoted. We will inshallah have a discussion also about this. I hope soon inshallah we discuss this idea that everything which is particularly, everything which is human is good. Everything that is exclusive to human beings is good. Another thing is that this is a very important point. You know, some people have said that Islamic theory is deontological. They say in Islam, we pay lots of attention to taklif, amale ve taklif. We act in accordance to our duties, our obligations. So they think we are deontologists. In order to clarify this, we have to say that there is a close connection between duties and benefits and harms. You know, in Usul al-Fiqh, we say al-awamir تابعة للمصالح والمفاسد الواقعية. When you say something is duty, you have to go further and don't stop there. Okay, why it has become duty? This is a very famous criticism for Kant. Kant says, forget outcomes, forget results. You have moral responsibility to do something that is right or that is moral. But we say we want to examine duty. Why something is morally obligatory? Isn't it because it leads to some results that we need them. Therefore, if you remember in Usul al-Fiqh, we say maslaha is sometimes mulzimah, sometimes ghayrul mulzimah. Al-maslahatul mulzimah is that type of maslaha, that type of interest that you must have. And if you don't have, you cannot reach sa'ada, you cannot reach heaven or felicity, happiness. Anything like daily salat, as-salawatul yawmiyah, or fasting in the months of Ramadan, or Hajj for those who are mustatin, they have maslahate mulzimah. They have some kind of interest which are compelling. For sa'ada, you need them. But mustahabbat, those actions which are recommended, have al-maslaha, but ghayrul mulzimah. They help us, but even without them, we can reach happiness and salvation. Then we have those things which have mafsada. They harm. These things are also those which have al-mafsada, al-mufawwita, or ghayrul mufawwita. Al-maslaha, al-mufawwita, al-mafsada. Al-mufawwita is when something is haram. Means it has so much bad impact that it would not let us achieve our goal. But al-maslaha ghayrul mufawwita means it harms, but it doesn't stop. Still we can reach. Maybe it takes more time. This is then becomes makruh. In any case, as you see, awamir, takalif, wajibat are based on some consideration and calculation of real interest and harm. Al-awamir tabi'atun lil-masalih wal-mafasid. So we don't accept what Kant says, that there is no place for results or outcomes in akhlaq. You should forget them. No, we say, actually, if you forget them, you cannot identify your moral duty and responsibility. This is also a very important point. The next point, as we said, niyyah is very important. Intention is very important. In Islam, we have great emphasis on niyyah. For example, you all have heard this famous hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, according to a famous hadith that you can find in Mustadrakul Wasail, said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ وَلِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مَا نَوَى. Truly, actions depend on intentions, and every person has what he has intended. فَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَمَنْ كَانَتْ هِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى دُنْيَا يُصِيبُهَا أَوْ امْرَأَةٍ يَتَزَوَّجُهَا فَهِجْرَتُهُ إِلَى مَا هَاجَرَ إِلَيْهِ. All the actions depend on intention, and every person gets what he has made intention for. If immigration or migration to God and Messenger has been for God and the Messenger, so it means with sincerity, so this person has really done hijrah towards Allah and the Prophet. So if the niyyah was to go towards Allah and the Prophet sincerely, so he has really got closer. But whoever, pardon?
There is no waste.